Just thought I'd do a little quick video on how to explain to install the dent trim on obviously 73 through 79 F-150. This truck did not have trim on it, so there were no holes, no nothing to mount the trim, and I couldn't find one video on how, well, there was one out there, but this guy's truck already had the holes, obviously, so it's a little easier at that point. But this one did not, so I'll tell you what I did. Obviously, I always think of it after the fact instead of videoing when I'm actually doing it, but better late than never, I guess. So what I did, I used the marker light screws for center. And had my boy help me out with snapping a chalk line from these marker light screws as center, measuring center on that end, measuring center on this end, and drawing a line, snapping a chalk line. I did not do the whole truck as one line. I did the fender, did the box side, and then the door and the cab corner. I'll explain those in a little bit. But the way I did the box side as well, obviously you can see I cheated with the screw back here to keep it in place. That was already there. Same thing, measured the center of the marker lights and measure that distance from, choose your reference point from there to there. Use the same reference point on the other end, there to there, to the center. Snap your chalk line. And from there, I drilled my holes, which is cringeworthy to say the least, to drill holes in an old truck, but it is what it is. From there, I had some factory fasteners a buddy of mine gave me, the plastic retainers, and I bought some, I believe, from Jeff's Bronco Graveyard as well. Just 1/8 holes, 1/8 rivets, and I did them about every 10 inches. I did not want these coming off, and to add, I did not use the metal end plates. So this thing is strictly held on by just the plastic retainers, with the exception of a couple screw at the end there. Same goes for the fender and the door. Did the same thing, just all the plastic clips. You put them close enough together, that trim isn't going to go anywhere. So once you have your good center on your box side, good center on the front fender, you line the door up from there in the cab corner. Cab corner is a little tricky. I basically just had to eye it up for this back here. It's a pretty wide metal clip that snaps in. This is all original trim buddy of mine gave me. Good friend. So you have that. No, I'm sorry, the big clip is up here. Screw holes back there. So I lined what I thought was the correct curvature. Cab's got a cave in here, so it doesn't suck up quite as nicely as it should because it's got a dent. Mounted that, and then I did the door. And like I said, I did not use the metal end clips, and I don't know, just got done putting my 460 in this as well. They haven't fallen off yet, so I think I'm good. And like I said, rinse, repeat on the other side, same thing. Like I said, I did not use the metal clips. Like I said, I've seen a few videos on how to remove this stuff, but never kind of anything on install. So that's the way I did it. I mean, they turned out okay. Driver's side, I ended up a little low on the fender. And it is what it is. It's not coming back off. I'm not messing with it anymore. It's a little low in the back. Of course, it's the driver's side. It's a side I have to look at every time I get in the truck. But it is what it is. I also added fender trim, which is pretty self-explanatory. That was from LMC, and it actually fit really nice. Came not one dent in them, so that was good. Just a little update. I got Grill guard I added this spring when I got it out of storage. Added the old school classic custom fit bug deflector. Got that for free. Had to make my own brackets, but just a little flat piece of aluminum, and it worked out quite well. Another update is biggest project of the summer. Just getting the big block all tied together. Only about 200 miles on it since I broke it in. About another 100 miles before I dumped the braking oil out of her. I ran Brad Penn braking oil, and I'm going to run Brad Penn oil in it as well. I guess I might as well talk a little bit about this as well. I ended up using Mad Dog headers, which have been kind of a pain in the butt. They didn't fit all that great. They're fender well exit headers. Still dealing with steering shaft clearance issues. Saw a write-up on a Ford Truck Enthusiast, I do believe, or a guy got rid of the rag joint and made himself his own shaft out of some double D shaft material and some U-joints. I got all the materials, and I have no way I don't understand how he's able to fit what he did in what little space there is. I mean, it's pretty much, there's not a whole lot of clearance between the shock tower and that steering gearbox. And what he did is he made up a bracket that used one of the bolts for the motor mount perch. And his pictures weren't that great, but I got the materials, basically the same material list as he listed. And I don't know, I can't figure out how he did it, but I'm gonna clearance that header a little more. I ended up going with trans-dapped swap mounts, and there's something to be desired. I think the combination between the mounts and the headers, I'm having clearance issues. Another issue people run into is brake booster to valve cover clearance, and it's just barely. I mean, it clears, it hasn't touched, but it's close. I mean, it's really difficult to find aluminum valve covers that aren't tall. I have no reason to have tall covers because the valve train is pretty much stock in this engine. So next spring, I'm going to be putting L&L swap mounts in it, getting rid of the trans-dapped. Hopefully that'll help some header clearance issues. Even the passenger side, it ended up touching the frame. I had the front clip off this truck and had them bolted on. It seemed like they fit, but I had to shim this side up 1/8 of an inch in the seams to clear the frame now. But I had major noise, vibration, harshness from that header touching the frame, especially on acceleration. Same goes with the driver's side hitting the steering shaft. You know, you get into the secondaries, or you take it out from a stop sign, and it hits. I mean, you could feel it in the steering wheel. You could feel the friction. You know, the shaft, it was hard to steer. So it's a little unnerving, but I wanted to drive it. I've been worked on this thing all summer to get this motor where it's at. So that's got to be details I'll have to tidy up next spring. I'm up here in Minnesota, so winter's coming, and she goes to storage in the winter to keep it, try and preserve this truck as much as I can. But yeah, I mean, other than that, this had a 351M in it. It was a pretty straightforward swap. I mean, thousands of people have done it, so it's whatever. I'm no different, but I'm just a parts guy. I'm not a mechanic, so this was a little bit of a job for me, but it was fun. I enjoyed it. It's fun to drive. I mean, there's not a whole lot done to this motor other than cam, flat tops, you know, an intake. It's quite the change from the old tired 351M that was in it, which did its job. You know, it served its purpose. But with 33-inch tires and the stock 350 gears, it was a pooch. It was just a cruiser. Now, yeah, this definitely brought some life into this old truck. But I ended up going with a 4-core aluminum radiator off of Amazon fit perfect, looks nice, keeps it cool. This truck doesn't run, even on 95-degree days, this truck never got over 170, even sitting at idle. So, pretty happy about that. I ended up going with a Brawler 750. Really nice carburetor, no complaints. Looks pretty, very responsive. Set up to run right out of the box, but of course I did my tuning and seems to run pretty darn good. That's about it. Like I said, and I'm not bad-mouthing Mad Dog headers. They're really good. They're a small business, and I try to support small business as much as I can. The gal there told me that she was surprised to hear that I had header clearance issues with the steering shaft. But from what I read, they all have clearance problems. L&L does as well. I went with fender exit just for the ease of running exhaust. Being able to do it myself and not have to bring it to an exhaust shop, and plus not having a trailer to, bring it to an exhaust shop if I went with in-chassis headers. Not a good idea to run a fresh motor on open headers for an extended amount of time, and I live out in the middle of nowhere, so that wouldn't have ended well. But yeah, I mean, it's coming along. I did Pappy's wipe-on clear coat, or Poppy's wipe-on clear coat this summer as well, which, the paint's crap on this truck, but I wanted to preserve what's left of it, and I'll tell you, it changed the truck. I mean, it's for $160 that the guy paid for the clear, the catalyst, wax and grease remover, whatever. I mean, I'm happy. For what little investment and a little bit of time I spent doing it, it really transformed this truck. I mean, I'm very happy with it. It'll get me by till either I sell that goes away, and then a paint job or a complete body restore will be in order, or I drive it as is. It's a thing, sometimes you put too much money into these trucks, too much into appearance, and you're afraid to drive it then. All that money invested, you're afraid to get a rock chip, a door ding, whatever it might be. So driving something as imperfect as this, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a rust-free truck, but yeah, the paint is something to be desired. This truck came from Nevada. It was a desert truck. It was two-wheel drive when I bought it. And the guy I bought it from, I did a chassis swap on it, or a body swap onto a 4x4 78, run-of-the-mill half-ton Ford. And yeah, it's work in progress, but it's fun. I'm got more time into this truck than I have in that Mustang, so if one of them ever has to go, sorry, the old Fox body will have to go. I just, don't get me wrong, I have a lot of work into this car as well, but, the truck I hold more dear to my heart just for the simple fact that I grew up with these trucks. My dad had a 75 3/4 ton that, of course, as a child, it's the biggest truck in the world, and it was a two-wheel drive camper special, but you know what I mean. Yeah, I don't know, there's something about these trucks, of course I'm a Ford guy, but any of these trucks, square bodies, the old, shipping crate Dodges, as Peg would call them from Zip Ties. It's a true testament that something of this age is still on the road. And there's many that, there's stuff older, And for somebody who works at a Ford dealer and have for 23 years, and to see the crap they turn out these days, especially, I don't care if it's Ford, Chevy, or Ram, I mean, the quality just ain't there. The bells and whistles and the power, it's amazing, but I can't say that those trucks will still be on the road, 45 years from now. This truck's just a year younger than I am. I'm 46 years old. I just don't see it. And that's why I this truck isn't perfect, but I try to preserve it as well as I can, and, got to keep them on the road. There's only so many left, and that's another work in progress. 71 two-wheel drive 3/4 ton. That I got that a couple years ago, and it was last licensed in '93, and within a half an hour that thing was purring like a kitten. That's just a 364 speed. Power steering, manual brake, 4-wheel drum. I figure that's my classic iron to scratch my itch through winter when I want to get a feeling for driving an old vehicle. You know, this one's not getting restored. It's just going to be made drivable, and that's where it's going to be. Make the interior comfortable and nice, and drive it. But other than that, that's about it. I'm no professional YouTuber. I just, every now and then, I want to get the itch to make a video, and, you know, it's fun to talk about old trucks. Feel free to leave a comment. Any questions, let me know about the trim install. You know, it's, I think I had this done in an hour, my son and I going at it. And, yeah, I'm happy, other than this driver's side fender that I screwed up on, but, you know, such is life. Truck's not perfect, and neither am I. So, thanks for watching.